Hi, this is Kirsten Jones with You Go Girl Coaching, back again to talk with you today about success. But before we go there, let's go back a bit. How did clearing out go? Were you able to clear anything out? You know, we think it's an easy thing, but even this morning I went to go pull out the junk drawer and realized, you know, I thought I had done a good job in the closet, but I didn't get to the junk drawer. It's kind of a constant process that we need to go through, but let me know how you're doing on clearing out. I've had a few people come up to me and say, I've got a coat exactly like what you're talking about. It's like, great, we all have that coat. We all have that drawer. Let's keep clearing out. And today let's talk about success. So what is success? This past weekend, a couple of girlfriends of mine from college came into town and we're sitting around chit-chatting about, you know, what everybody's doing post-college, and wow, we just started rattling off all these amazing things that some of our classmates had done. We were so impressed at one point, but we all looked at each other, we're like, wow, we haven't accomplished anything. But what is success? How do you define success? And externally, what success is to one person, and you know, they went off and started a company, that's success. To other people, having a family, raising great kids, that's success. To others, you know, living a life of solitude and serving others, that's success. So how do you define success? In fact, one of our classmates became an anthropologist and went to go live and study with Jane Goodall. I mean, that sounds amazing to me. How does that stuff happen? Well, it all starts with goals, right? And back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, a man by the name of Napoleon Hill, who went on to write Think and Grow Rich, was interviewing Thomas Edison. And he said, you know, I want to have this interview with you about the incandescent light bulb and how you got there. And Thomas Edison turned to him and he said, well, it's really not that impressive. And in fact, if I hadn't failed 10,000 times, I sure as heck wouldn't be standing here talking to you about it. I'd still be figuring it out. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that it doesn't work. 10,000 ways? Are you kidding me? You try something once, you try it 3 times, you try it 5 times. Well, clearly this wasn't meant to be, right? No, sometimes it is meant to be, but you got to have more focus and more desire. It's all about what your expectation of the outcome is, right? To talk about Jane Goodall a little bit, a story that I love about her. When she was a little girl, she grew up in England and on a farm, and she always wanted to understand, where did the chicken eggs come from? So one day she snuck away without telling anybody, and she went into the hen hut and she snuck down underneath the straw and she laid there and she waited and waited and waited. And eventually she found out where the eggs came from. But in the meantime, I think it was dinner time, Mom was calling, no Jane. We called the neighbors, have you seen Jane? No. Finally, kind of getting a little panicked, called the cops, you know, saying, hey, you know, can you come help me look for her? Eventually, when Jane had her answer, she came out of the hen house. And she said, I'll never forget the reaction that my mother had when she saw me walk out of the hen house. She said, well, did you find out where those chicken eggs come from? And Jane said, in fact, I did. And they both hugged and they went on about their way. And she said, it wasn't until much later in my life that I questioned my mom. I'm like, why didn't you yell at me when I came out of that hen house? I mean, weren't you worried about me? And she said, I just knew in that moment that if I yelled at you, you would lose that sense of curiosity. You would lose that sense of I wonder how things happen. Well, fast forward that story, right? And here she went off to spend months, years alone in the jungle with these amazing animals. And it was that idea that she had early on that she was willing to follow through on, and the coaching that she got that supported that. So it's up to you to define success. The exercise this week is write down your definition of success. What's one goal that you would like to accomplish in the next 30 days? How do you define it? Why do you want to do it? How are you going to do it? Where are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? Why? Right? Answer those 5 questions and let me know your plan, or check in with me. Let me know how I can help, how I can support you. We all have different definitions of success. None are better or worse, P.S. So we can't measure ourselves against somebody because they make a bunch of money. That's not better necessarily. Success is an inside job. And when you're happy with who you are and where you are, whether it's inside the hen house, out in the middle of the field, or working on Wall Street, or somewhere in between, that's where your peace and contentedness and your happiness and well-being will be. So next week I want to talk a little bit more about fear, but from a different angle. Have a great weekend. I'll see you soon.